All right, and we're live. Welcome back to another Descript live stream where I go over any questions that you have in the software, whatever you want to talk about. It's Open Line Friday, and I'll just start opening up a project here. I don't have anything prepared. Sometimes I have lists of questions that I've been assembling throughout the week. Oop, I might be getting an echo here. Let me turn that off. Let's see here. Okay, test. Okay, test. Okay, I think it's gone. So, yeah, a lot of times it seems like the most popular topic is templates. I spend a lot of time talking about templates on these calls, but we can go in any direction you want. If you have questions about one particular thing you're stuck on, this is the time to ask. And while I wait for people to join, I'm just gonna pitch something real quick. If you haven't already, oops, that's not the right, hang on. So this is my website, descriptmastery.com, and you can find my course, which is descriptmastery.com/course. The tutoring, I do a bunch of tutoring calls every single day. I do at least 2, sometimes 4. And you can find that here, descriptmastery.com/tutor. And then I have, this is what I wanted to show you, is descriptmastery.com/100 free Descript templates. I'll put this in the chat. And I've totally been working on this. I've been revamping what this is. And so this week, if you have an old version of this, you could sign up with a different email if you wanted and get the new ones, or reach out to me. I could send it to you. That's probably the easiest. But if you're signing up for the first time, what it is you get 10 different categories of templates. And for example, I have the YouTube intros, YouTube outros. I have different styles of captions. I have 25 common sound effects, and all of that stuff is here. And all you got to do is just give your name and email. Give a fake name if you want. Doesn't matter to me. But that's just a way that I can build my email list and then stay in touch with you and send you cool stuff as I come up with it. I also have, oh, what's all this? Oh, something's wrong with my website. I'll have to work on that later. So I'll just put that away for now. Yeah, that's how you can get the templates, my free templates, and that's descriptmastery.com/templates. So let's talk about, what should I talk about today? I don't have anything prepared. Maybe if I see a couple of viewers are starting to join, so if you have questions, drop them in the chat. That's the easiest way to guide these calls. Otherwise, I think what I'm gonna do right now is open up a ChatGPT and ask it to give me questions, because I'm kind of out of ideas. So I'm gonna say, give me 25 questions people might ask about Descript. They're too general. Okay, I'm just gonna talk about templates. Let's just talk about templates. So, because those are popular. There's a way to create a template from inside of a project, which is that if you start building a template, like let me make a title screen. I'll just call this like intro template. And I put in a text element. And then if I click on that element, I can center it. I can change the color of it, change the font, all that kind of stuff. Let me just center that up, put it in the center there. And then if I look at my timeline by opening the bottom left there, I have this title layer. So that's my template, or my text layer, and that's all I have so far. I can go to media, and let me make sure you can see this. Okay, should be okay. And I can pick something out of here, like, that looks interesting. It's like a dog running through flowers or something. And I'll put that as my background. So I just clicked on it, it adds it. And then I need to change the layer order. So I have this shot of the field, and then I have my title layer. Title layer is below the field, so it's hidden. And I'm gonna just select it, layer order, send it back. And I got a question. So in the chat, editing raw footage down to make a YouTube video, adding graphics, text, animations, B-roll, etc. Walk me through your process. Okay, yeah, for sure. So let me see if I have any raw footage. Let me think about this for a second. What could I add here? Let me find something good. You know what? I could add. Let me pull something off my cloud drive real quick. And then let me open up a new project. So it'll be a video project since we're going to put it on YouTube, whatever we end up with. And then let me download something here. Sort by video. Sorry, this isn't very efficient, but well, you know what? Okay, I have an idea. I released a video today that was this one right here. It's called I Created 84 Videos in 1 Week. And let me switch over to the browser for this because I don't have it downloaded to my desktop. So here it is. Okay, so this is now the browser version that you're seeing. And this is the video that I released today. And let's start a new composition. I'm gonna grab my project. I'll bring in the original video, which I think was this one. Insert into script. Okay. So yeah, now that I got that in there, the first thing I would do is, I don't always do this, but I would change the color of this. It's a little bit dark. So you go to layer, select the video, go to layer, and then under effects, color adjustments, hit these, and then just bump up the exposure a bit, make it a little brighter, not too bright. Let me make this bigger. It's a little too bright, look a little shiny. And then I just kind of play around with the contrast. Editing is all about, I say this all the time, but editing is about making a change. If you like it, keep it. If you don't, keep making changes until it looks and feels and sounds how you want. So that's kind of what I'm doing here. And this is the extent of what you can do with Descript's color grading. There aren't any like filters or LUTs, things like that. If you're familiar with what those are, it's very simple. So yeah, this is it. These 6 parameters. You can change the temperature of it, and temperature. If you go, sorry, my voice is going out. If you raise the temperature to 40,000, it turns blue, and the default is 6,600. So you can always return back there to baseline. But then if you drop below that, it starts turning red, adds that warm tint, and it's not letting me scroll. Hang on, like that. And obviously it gets really extreme at a certain point. So usually like 6,600 plus or minus 400. So let's see, like, let's bump it down a little bit. That looks not bad. Let's try 7,000. That's too cool. Let's stick with that. So yeah, that's the first step. Just touch up the color a little bit. And then I would apply studio sound, which it's already applied. And I just play it to see if it's too strong. If it's sounding flat or robotic, it's kind of taking the tonality out of my voice, then I'd dial it back a bit. So let me just, oh yeah. And that's my prep. So the first like 7 seconds there, I'm not even talking. So that's obviously got to go. I'll just get that little bracket there, slide it away, get rid of all that silence. Over the last 7 days, I created and published 12 videos. And studio sound's just a little bit intense, so I'm gonna bring that down to like 90, just like that. And the reason I'm trying to do all the stuff that applies to the whole video up front, because once I start cutting this into scenes, if I had this in multiple scenes and I started to change the color, it would only affect the scene that I'm in. So it's important to try to do all that stuff up front. And then let's see here. I won't on this video because this video is mostly scripted, but if it wasn't, what I would do is go to Underlord and do remove filler words, and it found 7. So there's a couple ums in there, ums and uhs, and let's see if it found anything else. That's it, 7 in the whole video. So I'll remove all, I'll just get rid of those. And then let's see here. I'd go find these gaps. They are. So that was like me catching my breath or something. And so you can just click on the word before the gap and just tighten that whole gap up, get rid of that, just like so. And this is actually where when I'm listing these things, I'm like, I did 12 YouTube tutorials, 14 CapCut tutorials, 12 Canva tutorials. While I'm listing that stuff, I cut to my screenshot of those videos. So I'd make another scene and then I'd have it scroll through those things that I'm listing at that point. But before I do that, before I start cutting up into scenes, I'm gonna finish up with the rest of my global edits. So let's see here. I do the same thing to the end, get rid of all that excess stuff at the end before I hit the stop recording button. So just tighten that up. And then back in Underlord, you could do shorten word gaps. And right now it's looking for anything over 1 second. That's really short. So I'm gonna do 3 seconds. And it found 5. Let's see what it found. Nothing crazy yet. So that's way too long. I'm gonna shorten that. And these other ones are like 3 seconds to 6 seconds. That one's way too long. They ask questions. Yeah, when I'm like scrolling through my notes or something. So, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of all these. Now, do I recommend trying this? Just to be explicit here, the way that you can check all these is over here on the right side. So these are the 4 instances of gaps that it found where there's no speaking detected. So you could you could click on these to play that gap in context. And then if you want to get rid of just that one, you can click shorten and it'll shorten that one to what I have specified here, which is 1 second. And if I want to shorten all, I'll click shorten all, and all 3 of those are now gone. So that's the basic gist there. Let's see here. And then I would just go through it. I do my full cut. I do that's basically my rough cut. I don't really go through the whole thing. I just do the AI tools to do it. So now I would just go through it. Over the last 7 days, I created and published. And then I'm not gonna play the whole thing on here, but I'll just kind of point out things as I think of them. So I would add that scene that I mentioned where I added the part where it's gonna scroll through the things I was listing. And the way I did that was I used the screen recorder. So this whole video is one take. I don't know if you've seen it on the channel, but there's several parts where it cuts into a visual assistant, sort of, for lack of a better word. So here's the thing that I used where I'm listing those videos. And if I hit add new layer, so I just selected it, and I recorded this in Descript, just did a screen recording, just grabbed the part of my screen that had my YouTube channel on it, hit add new layer, and then there's a couple of seconds I kind of got to scrub through here to see where I start scrolling in that recording. And so I'm just going to get rid of everything up to that point, about like that. And then I'll just reset this. So let's see how that looks. I did 12 YouTube tutorials, 14. There's still a second there before I start scrolling, so I'm just going to get rid of a little bit more. And I'm kind of just eyeballing it. You can tell I'm not being like super precise about this. This is my rough cut, just kind of. I did 12 YouTube tutorials, 14 CapCut tutorials, 12 Canva. So just like that. And I need to extend this. It got cut off a little bit. Tutorials and 46 Descript tutorials. And the timing actually worked out perfectly on this video, or almost perfectly. What I ended up doing is when I mentioned the 46 Descript tutorials, because there's so many of them, took so long to scroll through them, let me just extend that layer, is I use the range tool. So the range tool allows you to select a range on your video. And so as soon as I start mentioning the Descript videos, just let me make this bigger, okay, there's the Canva ones. So let me scrub through this. There's the Descript ones. And I can tell because I have the logo in the bottom left of the thumbnail. So from about this point on my timeline, I can just select with my range tool. And now I have that whole rest of the clip selected. I can go to layer, and then I could change the duration. So right now it's playing at 1x speed, aka normal speed, but I could say play at, it's a 5-second selection, so I could say play at 3x. And now it's gonna scroll through those 46 thumbnails a lot faster. It won't be as boring for the viewer. But why would I do this? The reason I did this like that, and actually it still gets cut off, so I need to extend that. So let's see. So why would I do this? The reason I did this was to learn. I wanted to get tons. And it pauses at the end, so I'm just gonna cut off the very end of that clip. I wanted to get tons of data points, just like that. And then just to smooth things out, I could add a little fade right here. So on that little white dot, just kind of bring this in, and then it's gonna look like this. I wanted to get tons of data. So it's not so abrupt. And then, let's see. As I'm going through, you could add some zooms, play around with the zoom to just keep things visually interesting. So like, let me see if there's a part. The one part where I did add a zoom, this one had very, very minimal editing overall when I actually did release it. But I have over on, oh, and there's a bad take, so that's something you could cut out if you find a bad take. So my suggestion, let me go back to recording this stuff in the first place. The way I do this is I just run the camera, and you can see we started with like 8.5 minutes of footage, and then I think the release version of this was like 6 minutes. And so what I do is I just do it all in one take, and if I mess up a line, I say it with the wrong intonation, or I didn't get all the points I wanted to, I'll just cut that out in editing and then go with the proper line, the good line, and without stopping my camera in the filming process. But so in this case, I can just cover up to get rid of those words, just slide that out, kill those words, and let's see here. Do I do this particular thing it's okay. I'm not going to find a really good moment where it works perfectly, but I'm just going to add a zoom just to show you that. So the way you can play with zooms to make things interesting is just select a part where you want to start the zoom, hit animation, and then come down to this, it's hard to see, but this little custom button that opened in the, oh, you won't be able to see it on the live stream because it's covered up by me. But in the bottom, a little custom button opens up. And then if you click on that, that's what puts these keyframes on the timeline. These two little keyframes with the blue line between them. That is my animation. By default, it's 5 seconds apart. But what I'm gonna do is make this a lot shorter, like something like this. Maybe even like that. And then, so my starting keyframe is where this animation is gonna start, what the video is gonna look like at that point in time. My second keyframe is what's going to, where it's gonna end up. So however I make this look is going to be my animation. What happens between those 2 points is my animation. So let me just like make this bigger. Oops, I gotta open up the animation again. Click on the second keyframe, and I'm just gonna grab the edges here to make the display bigger. And, oops, I'm getting some lag. Okay, this is gonna be a really drastic zoom. I wouldn't normally make it this big, but for the sake of illustration, let's see how this looks. So I'd make a template that I was gonna use to apply. So just like that, I'd make a template that I was gonna use to apply to all. And it's pretty drastic because it's such a big zoom. But then, so let's say I made a key point. Like maybe I asked a question to the viewer. I was like, so what do you think, okay, in this video, I said, do you think this is worth doing? No, I don't. And I did a zoom in right as I said, no, I don't. And then a couple seconds later, as I started explaining why, I could do a zoom out. So I could add another animation using the same method. I got my 2 keyframes. And this time, of course, my starting keyframe is big. I have a full view here. And then I click on my second keyframe and I'm gonna make this small. So I'm gonna go over here to my size and position section, and I'm just gonna make the width smaller. Whoops. Very choppy, sorry about that. YouTube is not receiving. I'm getting an error message from YouTube, so let me know if you're still able to see me. But I'm just gonna, and it crops me in a little bit when I do this, but you can see how I just gotta reposition things here. And I'll just slide myself back up. And it looks like this. Green screen, it would apply studio sound. So it goes from zoomed in to slightly less zoomed in. And so that's a really key thing to do, is just to add zooms in and out throughout the video, keep things interesting. I also did a lot of, you know what, I'll just go to the full video so I can show you, because it'll be easier than recreating it. So I was listing out my schedule for how I did this, how I made all these videos. And then from about 8:05, as I did it, I put these numbers on the screen with my schedule. So I was talking about the setup. I was like, from 8 o'clock to 8:05, I did the setup. And then, so that's just a title layer with a fade out at the end. So it looks like this, everything's set up. And then from about 8:05, and then it fades into the next thing that I was talking about, which was the filming process. So I was like, then from 8:05 to 9:30, I was filming. And so this is how that looks. That was just a scene. Each phase of what I was describing was its own scene. And then I just added this title layer with the time and then what it was that I was doing during that time. So in the chat, okay, perfect. You can still see fine. Do you edit YouTube videos entirely Descript? Are there things you do in CapCut? So mostly in Descript, but I'll show you some examples in this video, in fact. So this layer right here, where I said from about 8 a.m. to noon, and from 8 a.m. to noon, and the dates for the last week, I did that in CapCut, or it's not CapCut, in Canva. And the reason is if you notice the effect, it's like a typewriter effect, and I have like a typewriter sound with it. So here's what that looks like again. A day from about 8 a.m. to noon. And so you cannot do that in Descript. So I went over to Canva and just made that simple little animation and then brought it in. So I do stuff like that all the time. And then as for CapCut, the way I use CapCut is, like, let's say I was gonna make some shorts out of this. Like I was gonna take a couple 30 to 60 second chunks out of this and put it into TikTok or YouTube short. Then I would use CapCut for that, because CapCut has better captions and it's just better for that. It's just got better sounds and stickers and things like that. But I'm so comfortable with Descript that this is where I spend the vast majority of my time, and then just kind of supplementing it with those other tools. So yeah, this is what the completed video looks like. And oh, right there you can see it's kind of blurry. I was using a crossfade right there. So between scenes, you can add a crossfade, and that kind of times with 11 different features. I have over that smooths out a jump cut, so it's not quite so drastic. And I don't know if you're able to see that in full how good the frame rate is through the live stream, but that just helps to smooth things out if you have like a really drastic edit. And let's see here. So yeah, any other questions about that? The other thing, the very last thing I do is I add this end screen, and this is just a template. So I apply the same one to every video pretty much. And then in YouTube Studio, I'll add a playlist as the end screen. So it'll say watch next. And then below that is the clickable playlist that the viewer can check out what's next. Or if it's like a related video, if I want to funnel them down a particular path, then this is another way to do that. What else? Yeah, let me know if do you have any other specific questions around the YouTube editing process? Oh, I guess I could talk about the publishing it. So if you go up to the publish button, you go to YouTube, then you can see here the timestamps. Those are all added by Underlord. Those are the markers, the timestamps, and then they become chapters in YouTube. And so if you leave those in there, you hit sign into YouTube, it'll open up your browser, you'll link it to your Google account, and then give it all the permissions it needs and stuff like that. Hit publish again back in Descript, and then usually within a couple minutes it's published. It doesn't take long at all. And then this will become your description in YouTube. And then, like I said, those will be your chapters so that viewers can skip around without having to watch the whole thing. You can set categories, tags, whether it's private, public, or unlisted, and all that can be done from inside of Descript. So yeah. What else? One cool thing, I just thought about this, is be kind of cool to show you. You can't do proper masking in Descript. Masking is like, it's kind of hard to explain, so let me just show you how I would do it in Descript. Basically, I just duplicated the layer. So I copied my script layer, I pasted it above it as another layer, and right now these both have sound, so I'm just going to mute the one above the top layer so that I'm not getting any weird echo. These things don't get out of sync. And then what I'm going to do is, with this top layer selected, click on Effects and click on Green Screen. And that's going to get rid of the green screen, or get rid of the background on the top layer. And then what I can do is add like a title. So I could say 4 videos in 7 days, something like that. And let me just make this bigger and make the text a little smaller so it all fits in one line, and move this like right here. And then as soon as the green screen is done applying, I'll show you what I can do with this. Let me just edit this while I'm waiting. So you can change the color right here with the fill color. And then below that is opacity. So I'm just going to dial down the opacity a little bit. So it's kind of like, it's kind of like blended in a little bit. And then as soon as that green screen's done, hopefully it won't take too long here. Maybe I'll move it like right here. Maybe right there. I'll put it right there. What else can I show you while I wait? Any other questions about anything so far? People have been popping in and out of the view or the live stream here, but feel free to come in with any other questions as I'm going along, or if you want to see something else or more detail about anything. Okay, the green screen's done. So I'm going to select that layer and right click on it, and I'm going to say bring to front. And now it has the effect or the illusion that my head is in front of that text layer. And so what I was saying is there's other video editors that can do that easier. It's called masking, but Descript, that's kind of the workaround. That's kind of workaround to do it here. And it's a cool effect. I like that look. What else? Talked about zooms. If this was a tutorial video, like most of the videos on this channel are, I have a template for that. And all your templates are found in Scene and then Browse Templates. The gallery is, of course, your Descript ones. These are built into Descript, so everyone has these. And then Private and Drive are going to be the ones that you've created or that you've downloaded, perhaps. So like in the case of my Drive here, a lot of these are public, and these are what you can download on my website for free. I showed that at the beginning of this live stream. So yeah, to apply them, you just simply click on it and it'll add that particular template. So I won't add that. That won't make sense. But the important thing is when you're making a template, if it's, for example, I mentioned a screen recording, like I'm showing a tutorial of Descript, I would want the layout of the screen I'm showing and the layout, the camera I'm using, all that stuff to be consistent between the template and the project so that the properties of the template apply correctly to the intended layers. For example, this one right here is for an interview. So if I tried to apply this, this template depends upon there being 2 cameras. And if you tried to apply this to just a 1 camera view, it wouldn't work. Or it would work. I'll even show you. I'll click on it. It's going to add a placeholder. So it's looking for 2 cameras, but it only found 1. So it put me onto that right side. And then it put a layer that it's just going to call placeholder, this one right here, in place of that, what should be another video. So that's what gets really tricky about templates, is matching up the destination with the template. And again, I'll say it one more time. These templates are free on my website. And I also have like all these. So the idea with these is they're just different. Some of these are like cities. Some of them are nature scenes like bamboo. And then you would apply this and just swap out the title with the title of your video. So, and also, I mean, a really great resource is Descript's built-in stuff here. Like if you just use, I've used this one. Oops, I'm applying it now. This one right here is kind of cool with the words slide up one line at a time. And so I've adapted that. I've taken that and changed the background, gotten rid of that number 1, just made it my own. And that's the point of templates, is they're starting points. You adjust it to the project you're currently working on. So what else? Any other questions about maybe is there a certain topic you're working on? Like what is your channel topic, and any specific questions around how to make your videos better? I could talk about that. Oh, and here's another example too, so my video that I'm showing right now is landscape, but if I tried to apply one of these are portrait. So some weird stuff would happen if I tried to apply this. It just won't work properly. So yeah, that's another consideration, is like aspect ratio, the resolution, or the dimensions of the screen you're recording or showing or filming with, and then matching that up with the template. What else? What else did I do to this one? Let me see. It's pretty minimally edited, as you can see. Very, very little added, very little done. Some of my projects will have 20 layers and stuff like that with different animations and things happening. Oh, actually, you asked about text animations. So let me talk about that in your original question. So the way you can add a text animation is, let's use the one that I already added. So if I find that title layer, the one that says 84 videos in 7 days, and let me go all the way to the beginning. I'll just click the left arrow there to go to the start. Click on that, oops, hang on. Click on the title layer. And oops, let me lock this layer because I can't. So you can lock layers if something's in the way, like I'm trying to click on that script layer, but it's hidden behind the green screen layer. So what I'm gonna do is click on this lock, and that way it's not gonna be in my way anymore. Now I can click on that, and I'm gonna add an animation. So once again, return to the start. I'm gonna click animation. I'm gonna use one of these presets. Oh, and dang it, it's behind my view here on the live stream. Let me move myself. Okay, let's see if that, I think I just moved myself on the live stream. Let me see. I'm not sure. But anyways, behind the animation thing here, okay, there it is. The live stream's way behind real time. So if you see this in and out thing, that's where you can set some default stuff that Descript has for animations, for text layers specifically, and for images. And so if I do I could do slide, for example. Slide looks nice. And now let's play this. Over the last 7, so you see that 84 videos in 7 days slide in. And I could adjust it a little bit by going to click on that layer again. In animation where it says slide, click on these dials. And then right now it's sliding to the right, so it starts left and then slides in. But I want it to slide down. So let's see how this looks. Over the last 7 days. All right, yeah, that's cool. And I could change it. If I don't like the slide, I could do a blur in. Over the last 7, like so, or wipe. Over the last 7, or I don't know, I like slide down. And then I'm just gonna slow it down a little bit because it's pretty fast. So let's do 0.6. I'll leave it at natural. I'm gonna leave everything else how it is. Over the last 7 days, so cool. And it kind of works because right as I say 7, it's finished the animation. And the last thing I would do with that is add a little bit of sound effect to it. So if I go to sound effect and I just go whoosh, like that. I don't know if you can hear that through the live stream, but the whoosh sound effect is nice. I like it for movement like this. So I'm just gonna add that and give it a moment. Sometimes it takes a while to add the audio. There we go. Over the last 7, and I'm just gonna slide it a little bit back because it's a little premature. Over the last 7 days, now it's too late. Over the last 7 days, might need to go back to the start. Over the last 7 days. Okay, I think it was better where it started. And maybe I'll just make it even a little earlier. So if I zoom in, and I zoom in on a Mac keyboard with Command and scroll wheel. So while holding Command, I'm scrolling up, and that zooms me in. And I can see I have just a little fraction of a second where it's silent before that sound wave starts. So I'm just gonna get my bracket right there and just drag to the right. And then I'm gonna slide this over to the left. And let me see how that timing works. Over the last 7 days. Over the last 7 days. It's a little early. I think it was over the last 7. Right where it started, I think was the best. So it's gonna end up roughly there. And the idea is that whoosh comes in and it sounds natural as you're seeing it. And then, yeah, I'm gonna leave that for now with that particular thing. Some people, like, like really fast-paced, high-retention editing, they would start with like a zoom in, like the shaking in or something. And you can do that in CapCut easier, that kind of those crazy animations. But what I might do just to simulate that is like a transition here and then transition in. You can do a fade in, blur, cross zoom, cross fade, all this different stuff. I'm gonna do a cross zoom in. Over the last 7 days, like that. And then you could hit the ground running with like text popping up and things zooming in and out. And the first 30 seconds is where you wanna really get the highest retention you possibly can. Personally, I'm not a good example of that. I don't really do that in my own videos, but that's the best practice. Okay. What else? Anything else? Any other questions about how I did this or how you could work on your project based on your topic, your genre? Let me know in the chat if you think of anything. Otherwise, what else? So we saw green screen, active speaker. I haven't had great results with this.
1,000 views or more in the first year. And my hypothesis,
the active speaker, what it's supposed to do is keep the camera centered on you. So as you're moving, it'll move with you. And I'm not moving in this one anyways, so it's probably not a good one to demonstrate with, but is there any points? Maybe later in the video where I'm moving around a bit. Yeah, it's not really good to demonstrate with. So what I'm going to talk about, unless anyone else has questions, I'm going to talk about translations. So translations are something I've been learning a lot about the last week. And you go to Underlord, you scroll down to this part that says translate to, and then you could choose a language to translate it to. But what's really impressive and just got added like a few days ago, not long at all, is this dub speech option. So if you toggle that on, then it's gonna translate from whatever speaker it currently is, whoever the currently assigned speaker is, which there isn't one, and then it's gonna translate it to an AI speaker of my choice. So I have different AI speakers I've trained, or I could use one of these stock voices as well. And what it's gonna do is translate it from my voice in English to the AI voice in the language that I specify. So if I come up here, and you can see once I toggle on the dub speech, it limits my options to 5. So I can only do French, or English, French, German, Italian, and Spanish for now. I'm sure within the coming months, we'll probably get all of these. But I could go to Spanish. I could hit submit. Underlord is thinking. And the transcript part of this is usually super, super fast. There it is. So for each little section of the video, it translated it. English is on the left, Spanish is on the right. And then, oh, you know what? I'm getting an error. I think this is like my 3rd time showing this on a live stream, and it hasn't worked most of the time. So I've gotten it to work a little bit when it's just me, but let's see if it's going to give us a good demo or not. Error. Okay, it's not. But the idea is you would then be able to play that and it would read it in my voice, my AI speaker voice, in the language I chose, which is Spanish in this case. And then I could publish the video like that, or I could publish the audio and, do whatever I want with it. But what I've been doing lately for my top performing videos is go to export, transcript, and then here at the top right, you can choose languages. So right now it's gonna export the transcript from my original language. But if I wanted to switch to Spanish, I just toggle it to Spanish. And then I choose what type of doc I want it in, probably a Word doc. And then I export that, and I could put that on a blog or something. on YouTube, I could put a subtitle, Spanish subtitles, so that somebody in Mexico or wherever in the world they are, Spanish, there's more Spanish speaking countries than any other language, then I can reach that audience, massive audience. And I've seen a little bump since I've done that. I've seen people like immediately within 24 hours of adding Italian options and stuff like that. I see in the analytics that people are finding my videos and playing it with the closed captions on in those languages. So it's worth doing. It's worth doing. And it'd be cool. I'm sure we're not far from where it's just going to be automatically all languages all the time, and you don't have to do any extra steps. But for now, that's how you do it. And YouTube, to an extent, will auto provide captions in other languages. But there is another step in order for that to happen, which is that you have to export your subtitles in English, in the original language, upload that, and then that's when you can add the auto captions for other languages. And YouTube supports hundreds of languages. It's crazy, their list. It's way bigger than Descript's. Now, I don't know the quality of either of those. I haven't had native speakers of those languages audit them. Maybe it's like writing down like totally crazy stuff. The Spanish one looked pretty good. I know a little bit of Spanish, and it seemed fine. But yeah, take that for what it's worth. And yeah, it's cool. It's all this stuff is moving in a good direction and quickly. I think I keep saying this ever since I saw Sora. Sora's that AI video generator, that Descript's going to be one of the first tools to get it, I think, because first of all, they move so fast as a team. They're just always adding products, adding features, stuff like that. But it's they're partially invested in by OpenAI, which is the company behind Sora. And so I think it's going to be integrated in Descript before most things. And Adobe has their competitor, and I think that's usable already. Actually, I don't know. I'm just speculating here, speculating and guessing. But yeah, I think it's not too far until you'll click on. Let's see, where is the? It's all been changed now. The generate. It's under Underlord. So Dolly, which can create images, is built in with generate an image, and then you can just give it the prompt, hit submit. There is already one in there, so I'm just going to go with that. And Underlord is thinking. And by the way, Descript at the beginning of this month added some limitations on how much you can use the AI features. So if you were a member of Descript, a paying member, before July 2nd, nothing has changed for you. But if you've started using Descript since July 2nd, you're going to have some limitations on how much you can use different AI prompts and different AI features. But anyways, this is what it came up with that prompt that I had, which was generate an image that shows a transition from, I think, ancient transportation methods to a microchip to biotech. And here's what it looks like bigger. So pretty freaking cool that it can do that. And that was just like one prompt. That wasn't fine tuning it. And there's some nonsense in there. If you look at the like labels of these images it came up with, they're not accurate or even making sense. And the dates are like not making sense and stuff, but you can see where this is heading, and it's going to be mind blowing in a few short months. And so, yeah, I think it's going to work just like that, where you're going to just click generate B-roll or something, and then you'll prompt it what you want it to do. And you might even be able to say, using the speaker in the black shirt, copy him into an image of him riding a horse or something crazy. And it'll come up with that. You can add it to your project and use that. Pretty cool. What else? We could talk about some more AI stuff here, if you want. So the center active speaker thing, like I said, it's in beta. I haven't had great results with it. I don't, where would you even use that effect? I guess one thing that comes to mind where you could use it is if a speaker is like pacing around a room, like it's like a college professor and they're like walking back and forth in front of their whiteboard, you could have the active speaker center where it's following them around. You could also, maybe if you're doing a squadcast or Zoom call and the person is like moving their head a lot, it might be useful to have that follow them in that way. And then eye contact. Eye contact, I've tested at length. I've done some videos about it. I don't use it much anymore. It's just too weird sometimes. And it works best. The gist of my findings is that it works best at about arm's length. Beyond that, and it starts to get very weird, like bug eyes and stuff like that. So the only time it really works is arm's length, and which is pretty much going to be like your Zoom calls or a squadcast call or something like that, where somebody's in front of their webcam, they're looking at their screen, and then you pop eye contact on and it'll look like they're staring right at the camera. Okay, what else? We covered a lot today. When I don't have questions, I kind of just show things and then it flies through a lot of stuff. Create clips is cool. This one will find good moments in your video that it could turn into short clips. So you can specify how many clips. Let me say 3. Clip duration, let me say like 45 seconds. And then you could apply a layout to it. So it'll, like this caption, this style of caption, it could put whatever you want, and you can even make your own, browse through your template library, find it, and then as soon as it creates that video, it's gonna apply that particular template. So let me just find one. These ones with multiple cameras aren't gonna work because I only have one camera. But these first ones, I'm just gonna use this one right here. And then I'm gonna say pick parts that would make interesting points or tips or standalone stories. And then I'll hit submit. And this can only go off of your script. It's reading your script to come up with the interesting clips. It's not able to see your video itself. So keep that in mind. And here's what it came up with, including titles. And then it also has a little explanation about it. So this clip portrays a clear and bold strategy for launching a new educational channel, emphasizing urgency and volume, yada, yada, yada. And then it gives a rating. So this is pretty cool. And I haven't honestly looked at this much, but it's worth explaining. So it gave this a 5-star rating. So it's saying that it has a high confidence that this is a really good clip. And then the lower the star rating, so this one's 3.4, 3.2, it's saying those are not as good, but you know, it still made them, so you can check it out. And it already made these, so I'll just hit done. And if I come up to my composition, I can see that it created a folder. So if I toggle open that folder, I have my 3 clips in there. And so here's that first one. And it automatically takes a couple seconds before the clip that it found, and it strikes it out. So in case I want to bring that back, if I want to bring back a little bit of context, it makes that really easy to do. But here's the thing that it found. So if I play it.
If I was starting a brand new educational channel, like a YouTube channel like this one, I think it'd be beneficial to get a back.
So it applied that template where it rounded the corners of this video a little bit. It added a black border to it. It's got this episode title thing here, which I could just type in something, anything I want. And then it put a little Descript logo at the top, which I can just delete. And I don't like that that's covering my face, so I just bring that down a bit, like so. And let's see how that looks.
Of say 100 videos as quickly as possible. I'd try to do that within 10 business.
And that's not bad. Honestly, after this live stream, I'm probably going to make this into a real clip and post this, because that was a good point that it found. And I'm gonna change that caption too. I don't really like it, but that's the idea. And you could do anything you want with that. So you come up with layouts, and then it just makes it so, so fast. And to address the point somebody asked in the chat earlier about CapCut, what I might do is actually just delete the captions and then export this video, put it into CapCut, do the captions there because they got better captions, and then post from there. So yeah, that would be my workflow there, is using Underlord to find it if I didn't already have something identified. To do it manually, as you're going through doing your rough cut, you find something that you're like, oh, that was cool. That'd make a good little clip. You can highlight it, and then you can give it a color. Like you could make it yellow, or you could just simply hit copy, Command C, and then paste it into another composition. But I'm just gonna, for the sake of completeness, I'm gonna highlight that. And then you could say duplicate to, or you could do in Underlord, say copy, highlights, and then it's going to find all the different colors and highlights in your entire project. And then you can either copy all highlights at once or just by color. And then you could start a new composition, paste it in. Oops, and my paste didn't work. Hang on, I didn't do that right. So I have to go to copy highlights. I'm gonna hit yellow. Okay, now it's copied. Go back to untitled. Let me just get rid of this. And now I'm gonna paste, Control V, and there it is. And then to make this suitable for YouTube Shorts, I would just click on the aspect ratio in the top left, go to portrait, click on the image, position, fill canvas, slide this over a little bit so I'm centered, and there we go. There's my short. And I could do that as many times as I want for the entire video. Obviously it gets super, super useful for if you have like a 2-hour long interview and you pull out a dozen or 20 different highlights, then it's a very, very fast way to make a lot of clips, get a lot of content out of that. What else in Underlord? Covered quite a bit. You could draft a blog post out of this. That's cool. You can either just run it without any prompts, just let it read the script, and then the prompt in the background is probably something like, turn this into a blog post based on the topic, whatever, keeping the speaker's voice, something like that. But you could further expand upon custom instructions, or you could give it a specific tone to write with, including an example. And then we just hit draft, and look at that, it's pretty much instant. So it's even broken out by, well, it's got a title, and then it's got like subheadings, and then the key points of the blog, and a conclusion. And then you could just hit this copy button, that copied it to my clipboard. I could go into my blog or my newsletter platform, paste it in there, and I'd be good to go. And I actually did that for a little while with not that feature, but what I was actually doing was publishing the transcript. So I would go to publish, export, transcript, and then just take the whole thing, like either as a Word doc or a text file, copy it, and then paste it into my blog for SEO purposes, just getting like a lot of keywords and getting all the content out of this video, and then posting the video along with the blog. And then yeah, I get a lot of views from that. People find me on Google. It's great. So yeah, I recommend that. Ironically, I don't know if anyone cares about this, but Google is a better source of traffic for me than even YouTube. So yeah, a lot of people find me there. And thanks to that, thanks to SEO. So yeah, any last minute questions? I've already gone over like a minute here, and I know this was kind of a scattered everything show, but in lieu of questions, I just talked about things that came up. I'll give you like 30 seconds for any last calls. And in the meantime, I'll pitch my website again in case you don't know what I do. So this is the thing. You can get my free templates on descriptmastery.com. Let me just put this in the chat. It's easier. And all you got to do is just fill out name and email, and you can give a fake name and a whatever it's called, router email if you want. I don't care. And then you'll get your free templates to your inbox, and you can use those in your own projects. And a lot of the templates are the ones I use on this channel: YouTube outros, YouTube intros, common sound effects, all sorts of great stuff in there. And templates are like such a crucial skill for really, really getting good at Descript. So if I go to the homepage, and you can sign up for the course at descriptmastery.com/course. And this includes it tells everything that it has here, all the different modules, but it also includes the templates masterclass, which is like a deep dive on creating, editing, applying, editing again, your templates, troubleshooting, because templates always mess up. And so that's included with the Descript Mastery course, as well as the Descript community, which actually, that brings up another thing. I'm trying to form a YouTube mastermind. So if anyone listening to this right now is serious about YouTube, like you plan to post at least a couple times a week, and you're obsessed with it like I am, then reach out to me, because I'm forming a mastermind of people who want to just talk about YouTube, lessons learned, and like what they've tried on their channel, what's working, what's not working. And yeah, if that sounds like fun to you, reach out to me, ross@descriptmastery.com, and would love to get that set up. And I want a small group, just like 4 people total, and just talk about nothing but YouTube and how to make the most of it. Okay, that's it for this week. Every Friday, same time, I'll be here. Talk to you later.